Ladies and gentlemen, the market has crashed quite significantly yesterday. The Dow Jones, S&P 500, and the Nasdaq has gone down significantly because the oil prices has risen significantly. Should you buy? Should you sell? Should you hold? Everybody's asking me that. And today I will give you a picture of what's happening in Middle East and the financial implication, what I think investors should do right now. Let's watch on. So the key question really is, will the markets continue to crash? As we see situation not looking good in the Middle East military situation, the oil market as well as the stock market. And there's a lot of fog of war, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of lies, and there's a lot of half-truth. And we have to step back and take a look at this situation clearly. So yesterday, the stock market has gone down significantly. And right now, if you're to look at the market, the S&P 500 is very near 10%. So it is at 9.05% down from the peak. And the Dow Jones have crossed into correction territory at negative 10%. The Nasdaq has crashed to negative 11%. And all these are significant drops. And I think most people are worried and expecting the situation in the markets to go down even more. Today, I will give you my view and more importantly, my view on what things would unfold and what investors should do. Now, the real situation that's causing financial markets and stock markets to crash is really oil prices. The Brent crude oil yesterday escalated to $112 and the WTI has broke $100 again. That's despite Donald Trump saying, oh, we're giving a 10-day agreement not to strike their power plant and things like that. By the way, I think by now the whole market doesn't believe in what a word of what he says right now. And oil prices continue to rise as we know that the Strait of Hormuz choke is now causing many countries, many environments right now to have severe oil shortages, gas shortages, and so on. And I think it would not be a long time to wait that we could see oil prices potentially surging to $120, $130, maybe even $150. And they don't react in the long run to what Donald Trump say or what some lies were given. They react to real supply and demand situation, and the demand is desperate and the supply choke is real. So as you can see, when the oil, before the war starts, the oil prices were around $72, $74, and now it has risen to $112 and $100. So this is not trivial, this is serious, and it's set to go up even more. No matter what some of the things that we hear from the White House, this war is not de-escalating, it's escalating and escalating rapidly. So at this juncture, the latest news is that Israel has struck Iranian nuclear and industrial facilities. That's crossing a red line to the Iranians. And the Iranians are now striking US base in Saudi Arabia, hurting a lot of people. Missiles are fired into Israel by the Houthis, and we now have also Gulf infrastructure continue to be struck by Iranian drones and missiles. UAE, Kuwait, and Oman has now been hit. And the Houthis and other proxy militias have now entered the battlefield. This is now escalated into a regional war in a massive scale. We continue to hear two different stories. One, the Iranians are saying, we have the upper hand, we will fight as long as it takes, and expanding the war aggressively, retaliating unfairly, disproportionately, and despicably. But what do you expect them to do when they're being attacked and fighting for their survival? On the other hand, we have got Secretary Mark Rubio actually saying, oh, the war is going to end soon. I don't think ground troops will be required. We can end it with an air war, and objectives are almost achieved, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is planning for 10,000 more troops on the ground. So both sides cannot be true at the same time. When one side is telling an opposite story from the other sides, someone is lying. And the risk is also highest when that happens. Who do you choose to believe? To be frank, the US story doesn't add up. The Iranians are still launching missiles, and there's no halt in the offensive. So I don't think there's any chance of it coming down in a de-escalating in the near future. The nuclear objective, I don't think is going to be met. They want to extract the 400 over kilogram of enriched uranium. I don't think that's going to happen. And the markets are not buying it right now. Oil prices are surging rapidly. All the stocks are coming down, and therefore they're telling the real story. The story of no boots on the ground doesn't hold fire because it just can't happen that you have got the US wanting to achieve its objective and yet using air power only. They can't destroy the underground nuclear facilities. And we now have an escalated war with the Hezbollah, Houthis, and the Iraqi militias all coming in, and so on. So things are getting complicated. There's no easy outcome out of this. Now, interestingly, the Iranians are now levying, or at least considering levying, changing the law to charge up to a $2 million toll for ships that are passing through the Straits of Hormuz. And while this is something that they are still on the drawing board, passing laws, now this $2 million, if implemented, will reap the Iranians a huge amount of money. Now, I will talk more about this possibly tonight in the live stream, but right now it's very clear that they are not charging just a toll, it's a ransom. Just to be very clear, $2 million, is it a lot or little? We'll discuss about it, but I'm sure if money can solve the problem, some of the ships will want to use money to solve the problem. Now, today there was some Iranian naval turning away ships that are sailing through the Straits of Hormuz. And basically, these are ships that are potentially landing on enemies or allies of enemies' territory. So the Iranians turn them away. So really, they are imposing inspection, checks, and blocks. So essentially, the Straits of Hormuz remain blocked. Now, to answer the question, so Mr. Lu, is it time to buy? Is it time to sell? Is it time to hold? It really depends on what are you holding right now or what you intend to buy. So in my opinion, if I hold globally diversified portfolio and I buy them on the cheap and hold them for a long period of time, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, I think all of them will do very well in the long run. So I will buy them on the cheap, and as it declines further, I'll buy more. Time to sell? Well, it depends what stocks you have. If you have leverage positions, dangerous stocks, individual counters, especially those that are not very stable over a long period of time, I'll be very concerned to hold them. And this is where I also say in a special phrase, crypto is dangerous to hold in periods like this as well. So I wouldn't dare to hold any of this risky asset and I will sell it. But this is just my opinion. I don't know what assets are you holding. What about time to hold? Well, some of you are holding very good positions in globally diversified portfolios, globally diversified index fund, globally diversified unit trust, and the positions have come down a lot. And you wonder whether is it time to buy, time to sell, whatever. If unsure, at least what I'll do is to hold them and just continue to ride the wave. The globally diversified portfolios of the world have survived decades of instability, wars, turbulence, financial crises, and so on. And it's just gone from strength to strength. Do you need time for it to correct? Yes. Do you need time for it to recover? Yes. But over time, it tends to do very well. So I will hold some of this position without necessarily do other things. So really, it depends. But as a rule of thumb, if I got good stocks, good, well-diversified portfolio, there's nothing for me to worry. I will just say this. A lot of people are saying, so when, Mr. Lu, will this thing be over? So I would confidently say that no one can predict timeline, not even Americans, not even the Iranians, let alone people like us. So I love it when I read some of the comments, like everybody here and there suddenly become military experts or political experts able to judge when is the end of it. They say it's going to be over in a few weeks. What if the Iranians hold ground and not let it go? Right? Some say this thing will last for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, whatsoever. Well, it's hard to say because the Iranians will also have battle fatigue as well. So at this point in time, when, where, hard to say. But for me, as long as there's an opportunity to crash buy, I will do so. So I would continue to take positions as the market goes down. And these are wealth creating opportunities because I can hold them for a very long time and let the market recover. So, as a strategic investor, I would strongly encourage everybody, don't panic sell, okay, if your positions are good. And don't try to time the bottom. It's impossible to catch the bottom. Even for crash buyer like me, I basically do crash buying on the way down, okay, and maybe a slight recovery. And there's no need to react to every headline, especially what the Americans are saying, and especially what Trump is saying. So, for most of us, we will deploy cash at levels that are ready to fire. We call them dry powder. As the opportunity comes, we know these positions are predefined in our mind. I will take positions in them and just hold them for a long period of time. And you will do very well in the stock market if you just do that. Okay? Let's have a discussion over the live stream. I'll see you tonight around 11 p.m. Bye bye.